cues from Wall Street and from Asian markets. Actually, the worst of cues comes from the oil markets. Normally good for us if that commodity falls, but that 5% fall is also indicative of a globe that is very weak, 10th straight week of oil stockpiles in the US increasing. As well, Yellen's statement was much watched yesterday. I mean, what do you make of a statement which says that the economy has come a long way, but we will be dependent on data from now to the date of the meeting? So, you know, the non-farm payroll numbers become important. Actually, that's the problem for the market. There is weakness and there is an expectation of a Fed hike. As well, there are too many events.
Yes.
You know, ECB, OPEC meeting, very, very important tomorrow, non-farm payroll numbers. It's difficult to find the appetite to buy stocks when there is so much on the market's mind. And I think those reverses were already felt in the dying hours yesterday in our markets. We were kind of, you know, putting on the seatbelts for a rocky ride towards the end. And therefore, I guess that 7950 spectre doesn't go away.
Oh yes, possibly. I think the fall in crude is seminal, and that's not gonna go unnoticed. But in our own markets, generally, when crude falls, you see, you know, all the paint stocks, the tire stocks, you know, the aviation stocks go up. So perhaps that could be a trade for today. But Anuj, morning. In terms of flows, the flows have pretty much dried up.
Yes.
We didn't have much yesterday at all. So the start could be weak, but then what?
Yes, Sonia, morning. You know, flows are weak because, you know, it's been all about mid-caps. And even yesterday, except for Infosys, there was not too much of delivery-based selling in any of the stock. You know, you'll remember yesterday we were discussing this. Our market has been among the worst performing market over the last 2 or 3 days. Last 2 or 3 days, global cues were good. Global equities were rallying. And still, the Nifty was unable to cross 8,000. That was telling you something, that clearly this market has a bit of a problem now. You know, the bigger problem is, has the market already made a lower high? You know, the first lower high was 8,600, then 8,300. Has the market already made that at sub 8,000? The sense I get is that if the Nifty somehow holds 7,900 today, it may have one more attempt at 8,000. You know, because as such, the Indian market does not have enough cues to take it down below 7,800 at this point in time. So 7,900 to 7,800, there should be some support. The problem is that on the way up, the market is not able to break out because the two big sectors, banks and IT, are not contributing. So that's clearly a problem for the market. The Bank Nifty is a bigger problem because the Bank Nifty for the last 2 days has seen massive selling, and in fact 17,000 to 16,800 is hugely significant zone for the Bank Nifty. If it were to break that, it will again enter into a bit of a bear territory, and that's why it will be important to see for the bulls that mark is defended. And yesterday, for second day running, you saw index future selling, and my sense is that index future selling is taking place in Bank Nifty more than the Nifty, because the Bank Nifty has clearly shown signs of breaking down, even if the Nifty has not shown those signs. So Bank Nifty is something I'll be watching out for. And then the bigger question, will the mid-cap rally stutter? The quality of mid-cap rally has suffered a bit, has deteriorated. The mid-cap rally normally gets over if the market risk is big, if the Nifty, say, goes below 7,800 thereabouts. If that does not happen, the sense you get is, as long as there's no panic in the market, traders will still look to buy individual mid-caps, Sonia. And as you pointed out, today could be about paints, tires, oil marketing companies. There should be some method to
jewelry companies.
Exactly. There should be some method to the madness in terms of the mid-cap action today. You saw some of that play out in aviation, for example, yesterday. And my sense is some more of that will continue in some of these sectors.
All right. In fact, let's tell you what you'll get to see on the show this morning, and then we'll talk about all of those stocks and more in the next 2.5 hours. Lots of market talk lined up with Ajay Srivastava of Dimensions Consulting, so that happens later on the show. We'll talk financials. Anish Tawakle of Barclays will join in from the sidelines of their conference to discuss the road ahead for the banking sector. Not just that, the auto stocks will be in focus post the auto sales that have been subpar. Rohan Korde